So welcome back to the channel, guys, with myself, David, Millionaire Incorporated. And as you know, if you're a subscribed viewer or regular watcher, on weekends I like to go back over the charts of the pound yen Forex pair and just do a bit of a review or recap of what the actual market did, where you could have potentially taken some trades, and try and do some bit of forward forecasting of the pair itself, and just to see what we're going to get next week, moving into the new week. So if you're new to the channel, guys, welcome. Thank you for joining in. Hit the subscribe button so you can get notifications and updates of when I release my new videos. And if you like the content, drop a like. If you have a view on what the pair will actually do following weeks or coming up soon, leave me a comment as well. We can kind of get a bit of dialogue going, because I would really love that. It's one of those things with trading where it can be a bit lonesome at times, and if you've got like different sets of eyes or fresh eyes looking at the charts, you can kind of get a better idea of what might be potentially happening. So let's get into it. So pound yen GJ, as you know, this is the candle which opened up the week on the 4-hour time chart. So if you were watching my previous videos, I was kind of watching this area of 145, 145.5, 145.6 for potential rejection and to come back lower, because as we're all aware, if you've been watching this pair and watching my videos, the pound has been actually in a pretty decent bull run up. As you can see, it's going from a decent rally starting back in September up until now. It's kind of gone up, impulse correct, and currently going through a massive impulse. So overall, quite bullish on the pair. But we are waiting for a bit of a retrace. So I'm always looking at certain areas where potentially price could reject from to come back lower, or areas we could look for potential sells. So as I was saying, this 145.5, 145.6 area was one of those areas I was watching at the start of at the end of last week. As I was saying, I was hoping that it would either come back down, test this area, then come back up, or if it came up, tested this area, depending on how price action played out, come lower. But as you can see, it opened up lower here and it just continued higher. So it was like no test, no break, just drop down to the lower time frame so you can see a bit more clearly. Yeah, so it kind of opened up here and just powered all the way through, and then came right up to this area of the next area of interest for me, which was that 146.5 area, and go back to the 4-hour. You can kind of see price kind of struggled to kind of break through that area. So I actually took a short position on this pair, because I could see it was kind of exhausting, but as a result, it didn't end up kind of breaking lower. Let me just clean this up a bit. So I actually took a short position there. Obvious loss. So from about here, as you know, I like to do a 40 pip stop loss for GJ, and try to always get that 2-to-1 risk reward ratio. So I was kind of trying to take it back down to this 145.6 area, which would have given me that 2-to-1 risk reward. Unfortunately though, sticking to my trading plan didn't actually happen. It kind of kept charging up higher. So it ended up breaking through this 146.5 area and coming up, finally exhausted a bit, and then came back down, and actually tested that 146.5 area. So I actually took a buy from this area up here. So I'll drop down to like the 30-minute time frame so I can see a bit more clearly. So I actually bought it from around here. I didn't think I was going to quite get to that area, but I was kind of testing. So from this area here, took a buy position. This time I had a slightly smaller stop loss of about 30 pips, because I was only just taking it up to this area just here. And as you can see, 60 pips collected in that one trade. That would have given you a 2-to-1 risk reward, and profit stack would have actually just kind of covered my previous trade. As always, whenever trading, you're always trying to risk at least no more than 2% of your capital per trade, so that that would have been 2 to 1, making 4%. That would have covered my loss on the previous trade. I'll delete that. Then as you can see, price kind of, let's go back over here, came back up, couldn't keep going, lost a bit of momentum, and then came back down and tested this area once more. So I actually took another buy from this area just here, back up. So kind of right around, where was it, here. As you see, kind of, as you see, kind of spent a bit of time just kind of bouncing up and down there. And I was just taking it back up to those highs just here. So same thing, just shy of that 2 to 1 risk reward, but still quite a reasonable trade. Obviously the pair is still in that uptrend, so it is always beneficial to trade with the trend. So remember, the trend is your friend. And then obviously we came all the way up to this area of 148. Now, one of the trading groups I'm part of, that was one of the key levels we were watching out for on the for GJ. Hit that 148 level, and the reason why, I'll go back to the weekly up here, it's kind of around this area here where price kind of made that initial kind of momentum or impulse down. So you can see price kind of struggled to kind of get above this area here, and then as a result kept moving lower. So you can see here as well, same thing, it's actually kind of come up now, tested it, and it's kind of rejected a little bit. So look on that 4 hour, you can kind of see finally came up and rejected and came lower. So that was the trading week for GJ in a bit of a nutshell. Kind of not too, it's kind of been a bit choppy at times, but this week was actually pretty decent. You could see kind of came up, tested this area, broke, tested, could have taken a buy there, and taken the second buy from there up to that 148 area if you wanted, or just to those highs there, which as I said earlier, as I did. So yeah, so moving into the trading week next week, as I said, we're kind of watching this, we're kind of waiting for that price to hit that 148 area. It has been in an overall uptrend and a major impulse move up, so we are potentially looking for some correction moves down. So from the week ahead, I'll get my arrow out. Potentially, depending on how it opens, always remember you got to wait to see how price opens and price reacts to certain price levels. We could potentially come back up, test this area once more before coming down. Now, if that was the case, let me get rid of that. Let me actually put in I'll put in a horizontal ray at that 148 area so we can actually kind of keep it in mind. So yeah, so as I said, we're kind of waiting for it to kind of come up there to that test that area one more time maybe before it makes that major move down. If you're going to take that trade as it touched, but not what I necessarily recommend, but you could potentially do that. Let me just tidy this up a little bit here. So remember that 40 pip stop loss, and you always want to try and take it down to like the previous structure. So you probably take it to about just there somewhere. So that would be actually a 3 to 1 risk reward ratio trade, which would be quite a decent one indeed. But as always, you want to kind of watch how price reacts in certain areas. So dropping to the 1 hour, this was a bit of an area we're kind of keeping an eye on during the week, because it kind of came up and just completely came straight back down, didn't even kind of wick, it didn't exhaust, it just came down. So it was kind of an area we were kind of watching for potential support or resistance in the past. Now support, so you can see it's actually, after it kind of faked out there once, came back lower, came back up, tested, came back down, broke through, tested, moved higher. So that's an area we've got to kind of keep a bit of an eye on as well, depending on how price kind of comes up to it. So potentially price could actually, at the start of the week, open, come down, test this area here before moving higher again. Now that's all. You always got to kind of, as I said, wait for the market to open, watch price action, see how it plays out and develops, and then take trades based on what you see. You always want to make sure it fits within your trading style, with your trading plan as well, and only taking trades which give you that 2-to-1 risk reward ratio. Drawing these trend lines or support and resistance areas, it does take a bit of practice, but you do get better over time. So always look at back testing what your strategy is, kind of spending a bit of time to review what the charts have done, what the trade pairs have done as well, what price action has done, and just so you can develop that skill more, because Forex is a skill which you can learn. It does take a bit of time though to actually learn and develop and become more effective at it. So as I said, guys, hope this video has been quite useful for you. Leave me a comment below, let me know what you think of what this pair might do during the week, or what your outlook for the pair is. Give me a like, hit the subscribe button, and I'll catch you again, guys, next week. Cheers.